There were many advisors who came into this country. Oh, you have such forest wealth. There is so much a market in India, elsewhere. But we realized that we couldn't afford it. The forest conservation laws here in this country are so stringent. We have moderated our growth, our pace of development. Every step we have moved forward, we have asked the question, is it going to bring happiness?
Our throwaway world is making us miserable, so we're told. To be serene, you need to be green. But is it true? If it means I can't jet off on holiday or have fun, where's the happiness in that?
What's the evidence that a sustainable environment is actually a happy environment?
We don't have a massive amount of evidence of that. What we do have, however, is quite a considerable amount of evidence that an unsustainable environment is an unhappy environment. All the evidence shows that people care about other people, they care about the future, about future generations, and they care about the environment.
It may only be at the beginning, but the science of happiness encourages us to change almost everything about the way we live. It has lessons for governments and each one of us. Lessons which some believe we're duty-bound to pass on to children.
Right, this morning we're going to have a look at happiness. Why is happiness important?
Well, if you weren't happy, you wouldn't want to go to school.
Behind the scenes, the idea that we might teach happiness in schools is being taken seriously. One government advisor has even lobbied the Education Secretary.
Can anybody help, Alex?
It's really important that this be a high prestige subject in the school and that the teachers teach it also try and influence the rest of what goes on in the school, because they are considered to have some expertise in promoting happiness amongst children.
At this primary school in South Tyneside, they think happiness is almost as important as numeracy and literacy.
Part of the ethos of our school, and the reason why it is successful, is that we buy into it big time. Children do feel happy and they're working within a happy environment, they will reach their optimum in learning.
It's more than just happy school children, though. Under new legislation, the local authority has a duty of well-being, and that means, they reckon, pupils should be taught how to be happier.
We believe that it's absolutely fundamental to quality of life in South Tyneside that we take account of happiness. We would like children to be able to put as much of a premium on happiness in their life as they do on being very good at geography or very good at history.
The Tyneside Project is a spin-off from an experiment in Philadelphia in the United States. A couple of years ago, local schools started teaching happiness, part of a psychology research program.
Now's the time when you're identifying trials too, okay? So, who'd like to be first to share?
One of my friends got leukemia, and it's just like, I think through this, like having to deal with this, I learned a lot from it.
Friday, you have a lesson about what's known about kindness. And then the next Wednesday, you have an assignment to do 5 kind things. Then you have an assignment about what's known about strong families.
So, does it work? Does teaching happiness make people happier? The first results are encouraging, if not conclusive.
We've been doing this now for 2 years, and I'm not ready to make any claims about teenage pregnancy or drug abuse or depression. But, you know, I think these kids are better people as a result of this. I think they're deeper people.
In an opinion poll for this series, NOP called 1,000 people and asked whether they thought schools should put more emphasis on achieving happiness rather than preparing pupils for a world of work. Surprisingly, perhaps, a majority, 52%, said yes. It's one thing to teach students about happiness, quite another to run a school that puts happiness ahead of exam results. SANDS is a private school which puts the emphasis on creating rounded, happy people rather than on academic achievement. Pupils aren't told what to do, they help decide what to do. And on occasion, they decide they don't want lessons.
Is it possible that we can try and keep lessons running to at least the beginning of the last week of term? Because I know that if they collapse, then the last week of term becomes fairly manic. And just have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for jollies.
Right, Martin? Sorry to be sticking them up, but can I just remind you that if in that last Christmas week, of course, if you've got Wednesday, Thursday and Friday off, that's effectively a week off your lesson time, so to get your coursework done. Sorry.
Has anyone got any major issues with that suggestion for the next 2 weeks?
The approach may seem a little unorthodox, but the head teacher, Sean, says it makes for happy students.
They're queuing up in the morning to come in. They want to be here. So I think it's got to be a measure of happiness. And most adults say, what do you mean they're queuing up in the morning and they won't leave? That's the opposite effect that we've got in our own schools.
It's called intrinsic motivation. Pupils want to learn rather than have to learn. The school's results are average. But the head argues that there's more to a happy life than getting a good chemistry GCSE.
When someone asked me, would the children do as well here as they would in a state school, I think some of them don't do as well. That matters less to me than the fact that they come out as well-rounded individuals and they had enough qualifications not to embarrass themselves to move on to the next point in their life.
I think that the danger is that our schools are becoming increasingly individualistic, increasingly motivating people by, if you want a good income and a good lifestyle, this is what you have to do.
But surely academic achievement and the opportunities it opens up can bring satisfaction and fulfillment. It's not simply exams or happiness.
I think many parents will find that quite a worrying philosophy. They want their kids to achieve their potential.
I think many people like to respond to things. But what seems to me deplorable is if we give people the idea that the only thing which matters in life is jumping over hurdles. The only thing you can do with a hurdle is either just jump over it or crash into it. And it's really important, I think, in life that people can quite easily clear most of the hurdles.
It is a controversial view. The evidence is that ambition for money, for possessions, for quick fixes of pleasure, too often distracts us from what really matters for a happy life. We need to be ambitious for friendship, fulfillment, meaning.
Sometimes people say, is there a key to happiness? Say, no, there's no one magic key. Once you find that key, you're going to be happy. But rather, there's a set of ingredients that has to be put together in the correct way in each person's life. And we now know some of those ingredients. Good social relationships, meaning, which may come from religion, it may come from a philosophy of life. Having goals that are interesting to work on and which use your strengths and abilities so that you find working on your long-term goals fun and enjoyable. Some of the recipe of happiness.
The Nobel Prize-winning scientist Daniel Kahneman has devoted his life to giving humanity a way of measuring happiness so we can get better at achieving it.
What this research is going to force us to do, it is going to force us to think seriously about the meaning of these terms. such as the meaning of life, having a meaningful life, having what is a good experience, what is a good life.
Happiness is a good life. Here on the Greek island of Lesbos, Aristotle was teaching just that nearly 2,500 years ago. Now science backs him up. And modern-day politicians, indeed each one of us, is being challenged to respond. The logic of this new science is breathtaking. If it's right, it requires us to rethink some of our most basic assumptions. How we work, how we live, and what we're trying to achieve. In short, the science of happiness may provide us with a new definition of what we mean by human progress. If you want to find out more about happiness, visit our website, bbc.co.uk/happiness formula.